When it comes to stillwater fishing, there are some knots that are different than what you might use on a stream. One of them is, of course, the non-slip loop knot. You don't want to see that too fast.
No, but that's a critical knot for still waters, Jack. We don't have, like a river or stream, we don't have current to help animate the fly, so anything we can do in our presentation to help give our fly additional life and additional fish-attracting movement, we want to take advantage of.
And also we're using fluorocarbon, and some of the traditional knots just don't hold with fluorocarbon. This was a knot that will hold.
Oh yeah, it's a very strong knot, and it's a very versatile knot. You can use it from chironomids to baitfish to damsels to dragons. Frankly, it's the only knot I use whenever I'm fly fishing stillwater.
Well, if you're going to be going in the ocean, this is a knot they're going to teach you when you're tarpon fishing or anything like that.
Well, that's
so
where it traces its roots from. It's very simple to tie. We're using, this represents our hook eye, and the first step is done. We're going to tie an overhand loop right through the line, probably 3 or 4 inches above. When anytime you're tying a knot, give yourself enough material to work with. We place the tag end through the eye of the hook and then back through the overhand loop like so. And then to govern the size of the loop itself, we can pull to minimize the overhand loop itself and then pull the whole knot right towards the hook eye. And generally I'll hold both the overhand loop and hook eye together and then just twist this around 4 to 6 times. Generally the finer the diameter of the tippet, the more times I'll twist it around the main line, and then that just gets fed right back through the overhand loop here. And then we just pull down to draw tight, add a little moisture, and this rope's a little resistant, but it all pulls tight, and you can see how tight that and small that loop is. It doesn't matter on your first attempts if you make a rather large loop knot, it still works just as well, and it really works. You can see this doesn't slam shut like a Duncan loop or uni knot would, and it's a very, very strong knot. It's the perfect knot for still waters, and a whole host of patterns can be tied using this.
Section on fly fishing tips is going to be about leaders. We're going to be making a streamer leader. First of all, we want to start off with a leader butt attached by a nail knot. In our streamer leaders, we really have that leader butt section, and it's usually 1 foot to 1.5 feet for leaders, for streamer leaders, I mean. So what we're going to do then is make a leader about 7 foot in length. We're going to start off with Maxima Chameleon, and our first section is going to be 25-pound test, and it's going to be about 3 foot in length, just a good arm's length pull. And that will be our first section, which we'll attach to the butt section once we complete the leader. Now to our second section, we're going to add a second section of chameleon, and we're going to attach that with a blood knot. Now the pound test we're going to be using on that is going to be either 15 to 12-pound test. That completes the middle section of your leader. Now again, we're going to be using the chameleon leader, like 12 to 15-pound test. It's up to you. Next, we're going to do our tippet, and that's usually 8 to 6-pound test, depending on the size fly and the type of fly you're casting in the water. We're going to be using a slightly different material, still going to be chameleon, but it's going to be what they call ultra green, which is their softer material, ultra green, and it's either going to be 6 or 8-pound test. There are times that I might even go down to a 5-pound test in real clear water, and we'll attach our tippet. Now this can be anywhere from 2 foot.
Now we're to our final set of tips, number 100. And this is to overline a sinking line when you're fishing in still waters. In other words, if your rod takes a 5, add a 6 or a 7. This will help you cast the sinking line much better, and it'll be more enjoyable, and you'll want to fish a lot more. The sinking lines are made so thin, they're just hard to cast. This tip will really help you. If you do a lot of floating, consider doing the same thing. Adding a 6 if you have a 5. You can add it just as an extra spool line to add when you float fish. You'll find it'll turn over much bigger flies, and you'll be more successful. I'm going to tell you our last tip, 101, and that is getting better. And you get better by practicing, so you can go to all the places in the world to fish. Ted Williams gave me the tip, how to get better at anything. He told me in 1975, to get the best at any sport, you must practice, practice, and practice, and then practice until you're sick of practicing, then practice some more. until it becomes automatic. And then you can dream of the prettiest girl you know while playing and still do it perfect. Now you know the secret wisdom from the master of his sports. We're going to give you some bonus tips that's going to help add to your enjoyment of 101 tips. Thank you very much for coming to our 101